Hello, hi everyone. This is Lokesh from the Soul Freedom Show, and we have a very special guest today, Gosia from the Cosmic Agency. Hi, Gosia, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you? I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Yeah, thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you. I've been following you and your videos for maybe 2 years now, at least 2 years. So, yeah, got very inspired. About 6 months back, I was traveling a lot, so all my flights were
Oh,
like I
really?
was listening to all your videos, so I got hooked. But now I'm not so hooked anymore. But maybe you can tell us more information about what's going on currently, because I think from what I heard, maybe you can just give an introduction about yourself first, maybe.
Introduction about myself. Well, my name is Gosia. I'm originally from Poland, and well, I have always been seeking spiritually, and then slowly I started to be interested in extraterrestrial stuff. And I've always wanted to have some sort of a contact experience. So in 2017, this is a very long story short about me. 2017, we were introduced to the Taygetan Pleiadian team that are on board of the ship that is called Toleka in the orbit of the Earth. And we were introduced to them by another person who was at that time in contact with them. And we started to communicate. When I say we, it's myself and Robert from Spanish world, because I do this work in both languages. So we started communicating with them, and it's been ongoing with some breaks here and there until now. This was when this started. This was first a private experience. First let's explain to the new people on your channel how we communicate. This was done, and it is done by the internet technology. So we communicate live in chats. Sometimes we also put our audio so they can hear us. A few times we could also hear them. So we heard a Taygetan pilot on audio a few times, and then also Yashi a few times as well. However, it was a bit, it went through the filters, the audio, but we could still, interact this way. We also had one physical encounter with one of them here on Earth, but that's another story. One of the subjects that I can't really go into much. And it's been going on, like I said, for 5 years now. Actually, this month on the 17th, it's going to be 5 years. And and like I said in the beginning, it was a private experience and a private contact, friendship, basically. But then we offered to share some of this information on our channels because it was just so amazing and so incredible that I felt, I want to transmit this to the people. I didn't feel good if it was just with me. So we started to share these conversations. Well, I could go on in many directions from here, so maybe you can direct me with questions.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for that introduction. We
Yeah.
also have some people logged in, so we'll take some questions later from the live chat. So if anybody has any, they can start posting. And so Taygeta, maybe we can start from there. Where is Taygeta and people from Taygeta you're in contact with?
Yes. So Taygetan Pleiadians is a race, one of the races of the Pleiades, Messiah 45. And Taygeta is a star, and that is part of the cluster of the Pleiades in the constellation of Taurus. And Taygeta itself has 4 planets, without any moons, without any asteroids. There are 4 planets. One is Temer, which is like one of the biggest ones, the most important ones. It's a tropical paradise planet. Then there is Erra. It's a forest planet, mountainous and foresty planet. Then there is Procyon, which is a jungle. Then there is Dakota, and that is a planet that is mostly Arctic tundra, not sure how to say this. And The Taygetan Pleiadians, they belong to the classifications of Lyrians, which is like the most ancient template for all humans. And we humans belong to that template, Lyrian template as well. They are, they are Caucasian in the appearance, something between Eastern European and Scandinavian, so that they belong, you know, to the Nordics, so to speak. However, in their system, well, in the Pleiades in general, there are so many different races that they don't even like to be called Pleiadians. They just want to be called Taygetans. Because it's kind of like us here. I am from Poland, you are from a different country, but we are all from the same planet. So they are from the same Pleiades, but within that system, there are so many different civilizations. So they are Taygetans, and I only speak to Taygetans, and I represent only Taygetans. And also, just to finish this off, we talk to so-called Swaruuneans, who are the few girls, women on board who we call Swaruuneans because their main name is Swaruu. This was our first contact, Swaruu of Erra. And they are a branch of, they have branched off from the main Taygetan root. They developed specific characteristics genetically and mentally, spiritually, that differentiates them now from that main Taygetan race. But they are on board with the same team, Taygetan ship.
Wow, and that ship is close. How close is it from our planet?
Well, I haven't received the latest update on that because it's always changing. They actually rotate their height. Very often they are in the low orbit, actually, just 480 kilometers from Earth. Sometimes they have to go a little bit back further. So it's not stationary ship. It's always changing. Also, this doesn't always depend on them where they are. There was a point in time where the Federation itself has instructed them to actually move a bit higher. So they had to move higher. That's a long story why. Basically, they were in the way of the Federation operations because Taygetans and Federation don't always get along, which is another subject to explore. So that's about the height.
All right. So why are they separate from the Federation? Like, because I thought I mean, yeah, that's the question. Like, are they part of any other federation? Or, and
no,
what is Federation? Maybe because,
yeah. Well, there is just one Federation of United Planets, so to speak, but there are many names for that. They call it Federation of United Planets or Galactic Federation, and there's just one major organization, and then there are different subgroups and departments and sections and levels, because it's a huge conglomerate of thousands of races that have created this organization eons ago in order to protect themselves against the invading races and also to provide support to each other, trade, etc. So the Federation is right now and has always been, as I understand, well, we will have to, maybe at some ancient times it wasn't around, but as far as I know, the Federation is the major, the only manager of the Earth affairs. So now the Taygetans do belong to the Federation. All the Pleiadian races, they belong to the Federation through the Alcyone Council, because Alcyone Council is the council that supervises the well-being of all Pleiadian races. And Alcyone Council is forming part of the Federation. So if you are living in Pleiades, automatically you are part of the Federation through the Alcyone Council. So they do belong to the Federation, and there is a lot of political involvement here between Taygeta, Federation, Earth, all that space affairs, but they do not agree with a lot of the Federation tactics and ways of dealing with situations on Earth. And that's why I say that they don't get along always, because they enter into a lot of conflict. And this especially happened in the last years, and especially with what happened in the last 2-3 years on Earth. So that's where the disagreements were, but not only there.
Mm. Wow. So many tangents we can go into. Maybe
Yes.
you can also talk about who are the people from Taygeta you're in contact with. Swaruu is one of them, right?
Well, yes, the first girl was Swaruu of Erra. That's who we first started talking to in 2017. Then there was Anneka of Temer. Two of them, unfortunately, have passed away, and they are not around anymore, which, by the way, happens because this is something that people were having trouble with understanding, some of them. This has to be mentioned that Taygetan people are people, and they are biological, physical beings just like us, and they have the same amount of needs and problems as we do here, and even more because their lives are actually more complex here. So those two were the main ones, and also we are in contact right now with Yaski Swaruu, Sophia Swaruu. Her nickname is Yaski. Actually, her name is Sophia, and she is right now about 11 years old. Yes, a small child, you would say. However, she is an ancient soul, and she is the sort of accumulation of all other Swaruu's variants and variations and incarnations. That's another story here on the side. I don't want to complicate this too much for your viewers, but this is who we are in contact with right now. Yaski Swaruu, also Athena Swaruu. And in general, throughout these 5 years, we have talked to about 16 of them. It's just that the most of them come and go, or they come and, we have a temporary interaction with them and they are not constant. Yes.
Are they all women or they are also guys too, right?
There are guys on board as well. We have talked on audio to Taygetan pilot, who is a man, and his name is Dor Kalel. That happened a few years ago, and he's still on board. He's still there. There are other men as well. The cook, for example, the main chef on board is a man. Iror, his name is. And there are many others. However, now that you mentioned this is a matriarchal society, so to speak, in a sense that the women are the ones who are the leaders of the society mostly, not because men are not allowed or subdued or not respected enough. They just don't want to be. They just give that position to women, as they are generally better communicators. They have better leadership skills. But the men are also in very interesting and important positions. Many of them are pilots. Many pilots here on board. Many of them work for the special operations, and they come down actually as step downs on Earth to to participate in different dangerous, sometimes Earth missions. So, but the main ones we talk to are women.
Right. I think that was also the case on our planet too, right? Like many thousand, probably few thousand years back, it was a what they call matriarchal society. Like it was led by women mostly, right? Even on our planet, and then slowly changed to patriarchal. So probably they're still doing the same way like we used to have here before. So anyway, and how do you guys contact them? Like I know you have a special chat on the internet. Is it part of like the regular internet, or like what's the technology you use?
It's part of the regular internet. They do have replicated or brought up physically from Earth digital computers, which they use, but they somehow hook it up to their holographic technology on board. Now, it was explained a few times, the technicality of their connection to our system, but they basically they can use our technology. Right. They do use our technology, and it's actually something that is, That is done because that's what the Prime Directive states, that they have to communicate with the people of Earth through the technology that is available. So yeah, we use the internet, normal chat. It's been different places throughout the years. So it isn't just one place where we met throughout the years. It was different. Like kind of like Hotmail Messenger that was available years ago. It's something like that. They don't appear mysteriously on the screen in the middle of the night. No, it's not like that. It's just a normal chat room. And we used to have specific schedules to meet. For example, okay, the next meeting will be Wednesday at 5. But now it's mostly spontaneous. Yaski Swaruu, the 11-year-old, doesn't like schedules too much. She likes to just be free and come in whenever she feels inspired. And we encourage that too, because we don't want them to feel like they have this pressure of coming to talk to us. It's just, it's very natural.
Yeah, also probably their concept of time is different from our concept of time, right?
That is right. It is different. However, they actually, because they are so close to Earth, they're actually within the 3D frequencies, because especially when their ship is very low, it's actually below the Van Allen belts, from what I understand. I don't want to now mess this up, but very often they are so close to the Earth that actually it influences them, what's going on Earth. In terms of time, because time is not really something external, is a projection of your internal perception, and collectively we are kind of synchronized in that perception. So when they are here, they are linking into our collective perception, and their time is actually very similar to ours. I think Anneka was explaining once that there is only like 5 minutes time difference every day. So they have to like keep rewinding their time 5 minutes. And also they because they have been talking to people on Earth, they need to synchronize with us, with the humans. So they do observe the time as we do. They try to.
And is it video chat you have, or just audio?
No, we have never had a video chat on their side, not yet. I'm hoping that this is going to develop in that direction. I know they are very willing, and I know they are very eager to do that. But unfortunately, there are all these federation regulations that they have to follow, because they do still believe, I mean, they still belong to the federation. And they, even though they are rebellious in many areas, some things they still have to abide by, kind of like here with us on Earth. You know, we might not agree with the governments or whatever, but we still have to, I don't know, pay the tax or something, you know? So we have had video chat from our side where we can connect my video, and they like that very much. But we haven't been able to see them in action in the video yet.
Okay, all right. And then the next follow-up question is like, if someone, like I would love to chat with them, or if anybody is interested, what's the right protocol when possible?
Well, I'm going to disappoint many people right now, but actually at the moment, they are not open to any new contacts. And this is because of many things. Let me just start from saying that in 2008, that's when this program of contacting people through the internet started. It was called First Contact Program, and there were about 500 Taygetans, if not more, at that time, contacting people, and they were openly saying who they were. And of course, most people didn't believe.
Were they just randomly sending messages to people, or how would they contact?
I don't know exactly their protocols, how it was. I wasn't around at that time, because when I came in, that program has finished already, and most of these Taygetans were actually back home. They were sent. They went back. So I imagine they were contacting people through some forums, maybe chat rooms, and then whoever whoever they felt some kind of a resonance, they would speak to more. But most of the people didn't believe them, of course. It was kind of understandable, because there are so many fake ones out there. And then this program has finished in 2016. Now, actually, there are only 30 Taygetans on board, not like before, only 30, and only a very handful of them has talked to humans. Now it's actually only just 2 people that are talking to us. So 2016, this program finished, and they were still open to communicating with people at that time. That's when I met them in 2017. And I even introduced some people to them because I liked that. I like to share this experience with people. I wanted a lot of people to experience what I'm experiencing. I was like so happy, like a child that wants to look. So I actually wanted to introduce, and I did introduce some people, but slowly whatever happened, slowly their desire and willingness and availability has slowed down. They actually had a lot of negative experiences. And right now, this is a long story short, and now they are not available to talk to people anymore. That program has finished years ago. They are tired, to be honest, tired interacting with the humans. It wore them out a lot. And now they are back to do what they have always done, which is assisting the humans behind the scenes, behind the curtains, doing things for the humans and not taking any credit for it. And not just them, there are other races as well involved very much. So in short, they are not open now to be talking to anybody. However, we cannot say 100% because they are also kind of fickle sometimes, which means they might not want that, but maybe some point they will find someone that they are super interested in, and they will contact them. We cannot predict what they will do, but for what we know, they are not open now to any interactions with the people. Which is I'm not saying this kind of because some people think that I'm like keeping it to myself. Not at all. It's actually the opposite. I wanted people to have this experience, but it's just them. It's their decision. It's how they want things to be right now.
Right. So what do they actually do when you say their ship is there and they're there to help humanity? What are some examples of how they're helping us?
Yeah, they have been involved with the Earth for a very long time, and other federation races as well. Their involvement with our history has been for centuries. They have been around always. So their presence and them influencing Earth and Earth history, Earth events, seeding knowledge, interacting with humans openly or not, it has been going on forever. They were always present in our history, one way or another. They also had colonies here before openly, when they were interacting with the people. Also, talking to governments here and there in the past as well. Something they don't like to do so much anymore. But most of their actions are behind the scenes. They are involved sometimes in direct operations on Earth. As, for example, step downs, there's a group of men called Hashmalim, and they are special forces. And they would come down here with the ship directly, stepping down, and then mingling with different situations involving themselves in some military operations, passing as soldiers of different nations. They have all different specialties. And they, get involved in some rescue missions or arrests or, dealing with the bad guys, like physically, down, physically, face to face. And then they also do other forms of influencing key people on Earth, as they say, as this always goes, chain reaction. They influence a certain person on Earth that might decide something after that influence that will influence the rest of the history. So they go and they drop their influence here and there, seeding things. And not just them, the extraterrestrial presence now is huge on Earth. There are extraterrestrials everywhere. They are mingling and blending with people and assisting us mostly behind the scenes. However, I must say also this to finish this part. They are also involved in many operations of which we do not know, because sometimes secret for the security reasons they cannot reveal what they are up to or what they are doing, because this communication is not safe. I mean, this is internet. Who knows who can read what we are talking about? So not everything can be explained.
Right. So I was going to ask you something I forgot. So you're saying they're here to help humanity. And so one question I wanted to ask you is, a lot of people are talking about the solar flash that is coming soon on this planet. People have different names for it: solar flare, flash, CME. So I wanted to know if they have anything to say about that. Like what's going to happen, let's say, in the next 2 to 5 years in terms of climate changes or any kind of solar flash things?
Nothing's going to happen. What they told us specifically, nothing is happening with the sun. Nothing strange is happening with the sun. And the sun has a temper. It's very temperamental, especially this sun. And it receives a lot of incoming galactic waves. And we have made videos about these waves, the galactic waves, how they are produced. I can actually maybe summarize here, because I have this chapter here on the screen. It was actually explained by Aneka and by others, I think, as well. The galaxy gives off natural spiral-shaped waves, and they are as large as the visible arms of any galaxy. But as they are mostly high vibrational energy, they move a lot faster than the observable spiral arms of the same galaxy that reside in lower densities of matter. So as those waves move faster, they catch up with the matter parts where the solar system reside, and they impact the whole system, temporarily increasing their frequency. A sun is the energetically most sensitive part of any solar system, so it reacts to the incoming wave a lot stronger. Sun acts much like a relay station that aligns temporarily with the incoming frequency wave, sending off its own waves in turn in the shape of solar wind. This is why people confuse solar activity with the incoming high-frequency galactic waves. And here she's explaining the sun, our sun is very temperamental, especially our sun. Those incoming galactic waves are a factor that does disturb the sun. But it also has other non-related events that cause solar flares and sunspots and gravitational anomalies like gravity wells and related things. And these galactic waves, when they come, they increase the frequency of everything on their way a little bit. So there is a sudden increase in density, and it affects what you would call a third eye. So you could perceive things that you normally do not perceive, like you might experience a sudden interest in awakening or in advancing your consciousness. However, it's not permanent. It comes and goes. And they explain to us that those galactic waves are like a cosmic ayahuasca or cosmic peyote, so to speak. But the solar flares are not happening. I mean, there's nothing happening to the sun as the people are telling us. This is all more about fear and distracting people from other events on Earth that are happening, that Cabal is doing to the people. Here I have this statement. I wrote this down too. Solar flare, there are flares all the time and nothing happens. Nothing is happening to the sun. When they tell you that, it's just so that people do not see the real problems, to saturate you with things to be afraid of. So you do not see what the Cabal is doing. Nothing is happening to the sun. It looks like it's coming from the sun because the surges, those galactic waves that I was speaking about, are coming from that direction. So that's their viewpoint. on the solar flares. Nothing is happening. But if you want to know more, I forgot that. Go to the website swaruu.org, where we have all the videos in transcripts. So you don't have to watch the videos, because we have like 400 videos now. You can just read the transcripts, and you can type in solar flare in a search, a word search, and then all the transcripts with that information will come up. So nothing to be afraid of, according to them.
Okay, yeah, because it's just I think it just depends on who we're listening to. Most of the people I follow on YouTube, they have that way of thinking, that there's something going to happen in the next 2 to 5 years. But again, it just depends on the source, because nobody has any proof. It's like, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. But I think one of the things, at least for me personally, I don't want to know everything about the future, because then it becomes boring, right? Like,
Yeah,
I already know.
it's true.
Yeah,
It's
so
true, and there isn't just one specific future. They don't really give those types of future predictions, because that's not how it works. We have a lot of videos on timelines and how it works. Basically, you know, there's just so many of these different possibilities and possible future timelines that it's pointless talking about all that, because anything can happen, and it's all in our hands. And where are we going to have our perception, what our range of perception will be, it all depends on that and on our actions. So they are very reluctant to give any sort of predictions like that, but they are very clear on that solar flare event. They're saying clearly that nothing is happening to the sun, and nothing to be afraid of. That sun always gives off those solar flares, and it's natural, and it's nothing to be afraid of.
right.
But that's our view. You know, I always say this to the people, like you said, there are a lot of sources. Look at other sources. I'm only presenting what Taygetans and Swaruuneans share with us. I do happen to trust and believe them. They are my friends. I work with them, so of course. But for the viewers, we are just presenting. You take whatever you want from that and compare it to other information.
Yeah, right. And also, I believe there's different parallel worlds too, right? Even currently, there's different parallel versions of the planet. Not just the planet, the galaxy, everything has different versions or dimensions, right? So maybe in one version of the future planet, there is going to be a solar flash, and there's another version where it's not, right? So that reminds me, also the whole 3D, 5D thing, like I think, what do they have to say about, because some people I follow, they say that we already, like, our planet already has those different dimensions, like 3D, 4D, and 5D at least. They're existing right now. It just depends on your frequency and the way you think. You can tune into that. And I feel that sometimes too. Like when I'm not around people, I'm mostly in 5D. The way I define 5D is like when I don't have to worry about time and money. I think those are the two things that most people are always stressed about, right? Like if I managed to, it's like that movie Matrix, like once you get out of the, once you know, like once I knew that I was in a matrix, then it was easy for me to get out, because why would I live in a prison system, right? But I think the problem with most people on this planet is they don't want to admit or even look at the fact that there is some kind of a system that's controlling them, and which we call the matrix, right? So so anyway, where I was going with that is like, that's how I've defined 5D, but obviously different people have different definitions. So how do they, the Taygetans, define the dimensions, and which dimension are we in, and where are we going to, those kind of things?
Yeah, this is actually a very big metaphysical subject as well. And we had topics about that from the very beginning. In the very beginning, they did talk about dimensions, but they actually prefer the word densities. because that dimensions, it's something like something we're associating with geometries, and all that. But density is more about like frequencies and oscillations of thought and all that, perception range. So they talked about densities. They were explaining how everything outside Earth is in the fifth density, still physical, but it's in the fifth density. However, right now they don't like talking about the Ds, the density, even that. They don't like those terms because it's not like a location, it's a state of mind. It's not like something that is coming to you from the outside. Oh no, we're going to be bringing the event and we're going to go into 5D, like we are here and the 5D is coming and we are like jumping into 5D. No, it's all about, like you said, about your inner reality. It's about your inner perception, inner range of what you allow into your understanding of things, your frequency, your view of reality. And here collectively we are locked in, so to speak, in that lower range of perception, 3D, but it doesn't mean you have to be. You can be here, you can be on Earth, and you can be living and perceiving 5D and more, because 5D is not even the end. There's other forms of existence and thinking. Here I will tell you something that actually the Taygetan person that we saw. I told you in the beginning that we met with the Taygetan person, who actually at that time she didn't reveal who she was, and we didn't know. And we had a meeting, and we were talking in a group about this, about the 5D and the 3D, and how we are like stuck in the 3D density, and people were complaining. And she spoke and she said, guys, right now, what are you doing? Do you feel happy? Do you feel happy interacting with the people? Are you enjoying yourself? Are you relaxed? This is 5D. You are right now in the 5D. Don't be like, thinking that it's some sort of a unachievable state of mind somewhere outside of Earth. It's not like that. It's just your own state of being, and you can resonate to that state of being at any time, and no matter where you are. Location is not something that will limit you. And on the other hand, actually, you can be outside of Earth, and if you are stuck into the 3D way of thinking, you can bring that outside of Earth. You can actually still be 3D outside of Earth. So of course, it's more difficult there, because when you go there, for example, extracted people, when they're extracted, their perception opens because they suddenly become aware of so many things, and the truth, just is revealed, that automatically changes their perception. But some of them could be still stuck to their 3D ideas. So it's all ideas. It's all how you feel, how you interact with the reality. It's your interpretation of the reality, etc. That's how they perceive it.
Do they talk about which dimension they are in, or is it?
Well, like I said, they told us that they are in the fifth density. They don't talk about dimensions. They talk about densities.
Density.
Right now, they don't even like to talk about that, because, like I said, it's more about your inner perception. It's your inner state. So in theory, it could be that they are in the fifth density, but it doesn't mean that it limits you here from being that as well.
Because that's the reason the term ascension has been misused, because people think we are going somewhere and they're trying to again do something about it, but it's the other way around. We have to bring those frequencies down into the body, right? Like not check out through meditation or drugs, but talking about drugs, like, do they talk about, like, we have alcohol and drugs and all these things, both for spiritual practices and also for recreation or recreation? Do they have anything like that over there? Do you know?
No, they don't. They actually told us that alcohol is poison, basically. Of course, here on Earth, it's we drink it and nothing happens to us really on a physical level. To them, it would be literally poison. They couldn't take it. Well, some of them could be maybe more immune than others, especially those that have experience with being on Earth. But basically, alcohol is poison physically, and also it's called spirits, right? Spirits. Why is it called spirits? It's not accidental, because it actually opens the door to spirits and other entities being attracted to you at that moment when your perception is distorted, and you allow the other entities to be near you. So definitely stay away from alcohol if you can. I mean, at the same time, we are on Earth, and maybe it's our last time, so everything in balance. I still drink here and there some wine or whatever. It's just not to get carried away with that.
Yeah. Right.
And drugs.
I was talking more from a spiritual perspective, like for example, cannabis and ayahuasca, these things are used for. So do they have anything like that?
No,
over there?
they don't have it themselves. They don't have anything like that. Their diet is very well. The Taygetans are actually vegans, but they do not. They have the variety of plants is so much more diverse than here. Swaruuneans actually are, or Yaski Swaruuneans are not vegans, but they eat some animal ingredients, but not from animals. They actually produce the Urmas. There is a cat race, Urmas, that produce a synthetic meat, but it's not like on Earth. The synthetic meat on Earth is poison. It's nothing to do with that. Theirs is totally different. So my point with this is they don't have anything like cannabis or any mind-altering substances like that. No, they don't. And at one point they told us it's not very advisable to use that, because it does open the door to some of the experiences that not many people could be prepared for. It could be a dangerous realm to play with if you are naturally not knowing how to operate that realm. So they are always advising to go exploring in meditation, in different practices naturally, and not to try to speed it up with substances. But that's the review. I do understand that many people do have spiritual experiences with these practices. I did as well. I took ayahuasca a few times. I also tried, other things, natural things, and it did help me actually to have a insight.
Yeah, at least to know what it's like to be in that state, if not be in that state all the time.
Yeah, but be careful. That's all I'm saying. Be careful and do it in a sacred type of a way, not just for entertainment, but be responsible with that experience.
Right, because I'm sure they also have, like we are also trying to get to the next level. I'm sure they're also trying to get to the next level. So I'm sure probably meditation is the only tool they use, or is there anything else?
Yes, they only use meditation basically, or maybe some astral experiences. Some of them are more interested in spiritual matters than others. Actually, in Taygeta, it's those people. It's about 38 million of them. They are very interested in a spiritual advancement. Many of them are actually leaving their vehicles behind, and they don't come back. They go further. They go beyond, because they have reached the fullness of what it's like to be in a physical experience. So many Taygetans are actually transcending when they choose to die. But others are still very interested in the physical experience. Of course, they are explorers, etc. So meditation, yes, they use meditation. Their meditation is very simple, actually. They told us that they don't have as many techniques as we have here on Earth, because here on Earth we have such an influence of many races. And each one of these races has different philosophy and techniques and practices, and they try to seed that on Earth for the people to choose from. But they themselves, their practice is very simple. They just sit relaxed. It doesn't have to be a lotus position or anything like that, they told us, even though I like that position myself. And whatever makes you comfortable. And then sometimes they listen to music, or without music, just in silence. And just go inside and see what you find.
Right.
they told us that on Earth we have all these different complicated structures for meditation and different meditation schools, and they all like fighting among another who is better. And theirs is very simple
Yeah.
and natural. Just go within and be with yourself.
Yeah. Also, probably us humans, we like things that are more complicated, and we make things complicated. Even like we don't like to say. So probably
Yeah.
yeah. So that's one thing that I'm learning is like life is not so complicated. We just want it to be complicated because it's like we get bored, or it's also in our genes now, because earlier, we had to live for survival, like, a few generations back, but we don't have to do that now. We're, the fight or flight thing. So
True. Simple
I'm
life, simple things. They are actually enjoying more and more simple things as well. They told us that, they are so advanced technologically, and they have such, scientific advancement in all levels. They have replicators at home and, all kinds of technologies, but they are actually going back into enjoying simple things and simple, things made with hands, art, just enjoying life in that way. So
right. Do they have any plans? I mean, people talk about contact, right? Like, do they have plans to come physically here, or either physically or as a walk-in, one
oh,
of
they
those,
do come as a walking, and they do come through immersion technology. The immersion technology is very common, and not just in Taygeta, for Taygetans, but also for other ET races. It's where you are going into this pod and you go to sleep, into the hibernation. Your body is there, but you divert your consciousness, and kind of like in Avatar, and you go into the previously chosen avatar on Earth. So they are doing that all the time. I'm actually one of them. They told me. So my body is up there somewhere, floating in space. Or actually, no, I think right now it's in Taygeta. They actually, a few years ago, all the big crew was sent home, and I think all the Taygetans in immersions, they were taken back to Taygeta. But distance is not a problem. The connection with your pod is the same,
right?
is as strong. So even though my body in the immersion is in
Yeah.
Taygeta, many light years away, the connection, the consciousness, is still connected. So my point is, so they do come in as walkings, of course, directly from the source or through the immersion technologies. They do come in as step downs, but mostly that's anonymous. So they are not supposed to reveal who they are. And going back to the question, are they ready for the contact? I know they are very eager in some ways to do that, and they were eager a few years back. Now the humans are not ready yet, and also they have to follow the Federation protocols. They couldn't just go and do whatever they want. Some races that do not belong to the Federation do as they want, and they do meet with people here and there. We hear about these experiences. I'm not discarding those, but those are probably some non-Federation races, or who knows what they're up to. But the Federation, but the Taygeta is still very involved with the Federation on a political level. They have to follow their rules, so they are not ready yet for that open physical contact. But I know they are making steps. They are making steps towards it.
Okay. Right. Let's see if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, let's take some questions from the chat, maybe.
Yeah, I think most of these are comments, but if anybody has any questions, I think there was something about the moon, but I think you've talked about the moon, and I think there's so many people who've talked about the moon that I think, but maybe if you have any new information that they've talked about the moon, because I know it's like artificial, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know anything new. I don't have anything new about the moon. It just there has been a lot of action on the moon happening recently, but we don't know everything about those actions. The Federation has been, I think, starting to use this more as their bases, but I don't know many more. I don't know much more about this. I have a question here actually from someone. If you want me to read the question.
Yeah.
Okay, this is about, I will explain what this is about because maybe you don't know. The question is, do you think that the Federation and Taygeta would let Minerva have YouTube channel? Now, let me explain this to you because probably you're not aware. 2 days ago or 3 days ago, actually, and I'm confirming this, Minerva Swaruu opened her channel directly. And Minerva Swaruu is one of the Swaruus. She's about 15 years old, and she has opened, this channel has been around for more time. She just recently took control of that. And she published her first video, and it's going to be in Spanish and in English. And it's a video made by her directly. Now, the question is, do you think the Federation, so yeah, the Taygeta, of course, let Minerva do that. It's all done by the approval of the whole team. Now, whether the Federation approves of that, I'm not sure because they don't approve of many things. I would have to ask that specific question. So anyway, so that was the question to that person. Let me see if there's any other question.
Yeah, I think that was the, I mean, somebody's asking about the history of Taygeta and also
saw that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very, that would be a big topic in itself. And
Yeah.
A good topic, but we never really went into this topic with them. Maybe I should actually write it down, and maybe at some point we can discuss this with them. I don't know.
Yeah. So something for the future. One question I had is, I think you've talked about it in a couple of videos, is about sex, like as in they don't obviously have sex in the same way that we do. And also related to that is the concept of heartbreak, like, because I think one of the videos you asked them, like, what is the main reason of pain you have in your planet, and they said heartbreak, right?
Heartbreaks, yeah.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, I had like goosebumps all over my body, because when I heard that, because that's one of the main things, like I've dealt with a lot of heartbreak. So I was thinking, when I get out of this planet to another higher dimension, I'll be done with heartbreak. I'm like, then I heard that, I'm like,
funny.
No, yeah.
Well,
like shit, like I still have to deal with heartbreaks. Yeah.
No, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You can go and be from some other race, because Taygetans are very emotional and very loving. If you don't want to deal with that anymore, you are free to incarnate into another race. You can be, an Andromedan, who, by the way, they also have emotions. It's not like they are completely closed off. They do have emotions. They have families. They are just dealing with it in a bit different way. Arcturians, for example, I don't think they do experience love and romantic feelings. They reproduce in a totally different way as well. They don't have sex, Arcturians. So if you want to go past all this, then just remember, do not go to Taygeta, because in Taygeta they are very loving. They are very they have relationships and all that. However, not everybody. Like, if you get over a certain stage in your life, like if you are like 100 years old, then you are moving on into other interests, other areas. And many women, older women, for example, or men, they don't have any partners anymore at that point. They are just dedicating themselves to their spirituality. But when they are younger, yes, the relationships and all that still takes up a big part of their life.
Right. So if like, let's say I want to invoke them, like in prayers and stuff, or even for okay, let me try it, because I was going into the direction of channeling. This is not channeling. You're not channeling. No. So let me not go there. But let's say, are they open to, or do you know if it's possible to kind of invoke them? Do they have any kind of mantra or something like that through which we can kind of pray to them?
No. Pray to them? No. I mean, you can talk to them, like, mentally.
Pray as in, Pray as in talk to them, yeah.
Yeah, talk, because prayer, has that religious connotation, and they don't want anything to do with that perception of them being gods or angels or any superior figures like that. They are people, and you can try to talk to them mentally, telepathically somehow. However, it's difficult for them because we are living in this huge electromagnetic soup here, and it's not always easy for them to connect even to us. Sometimes we're like far away. And they will have to also like be zooming in on a person, and they are involved in other things. They are people. So sometimes certain energies might be coming towards them from certain groups of people. But I don't know, how specific they are distinguishing what messages from who. Also, it depends what member of the crew. Like Yaski Swaruu is more astrally evolved in that sense. But then also we don't want to saturate them either. I mean, imagine the amount of messages they will be receiving. She will be receiving from people on Earth, and it actually drains them.
Looks like they choose who they want to contact. It's not like us. It's like a lottery system. like you, I'm sure you didn't want to, right? You were contacted, but you didn't kind of seek them.
Of
right?
course I did. I was seeking it for years. But not this type of contact. I didn't know this was going to manifest this way. I just wanted to have a contact. I wanted to know who these people are in their ships, and I wanted to have some sort of experience.
You didn't specifically want to contact them. You just wanted to contact extra. Yeah. So most of the people, I think, who are listening to this or watching this, they're probably in the same space that they want that contact. So what I was asking is, like, can we be, like you were saying earlier, right? Like, just don't go to Taygeta. So that intention of going there or contacting them, when is that? Is that, I think those are two separate questions. So let me go in that direction of, like, after death, like after we leave our body, is that when we decide where we want to go next, or even while we're in the body we can decide?
Okay, good questions, interesting questions. But before I'm going to answer this question from the chat very fast, have they given you any tips on how to make money easily? No, they don't know anything about how to make money. They don't have any tips on that. They don't have economy in their system, of course. So no, they have no clue. It's something they can never help us with. Okay, so now, when I wanted the contact, I didn't specify Taygetans or Pleiadians or anything like that. In my intentions, it was just benevolent beings who were there, who wanted to communicate something. And I actually, to be honest, didn't even have any specific connection with Pleiadians itself, because I have been kind of brainwashed too by the new age ideas that Pleiadians are all these love and light and orbs, and like these soft angelic beings. And I never felt that. I never felt that's what I am. So I felt like, okay, I can't be with that from that place because I'm not like that. And then I was so happy to discover that actually Taygetan Pleiadians are not like that either. Of course, they are loving, and some of them are soft. Minerva Swaruu, for example, the one who is doing the videos, is very soft and etheric. But they are also warriors, and they are tough, and they are badass, and all that. So going back to the question about the contact, just give out the intention of being in communication with a positive, loving race or your family race, because that's usually how it works. It's your family race that will respond to that calling. It also depends on your prenatal agreements. Yeah.
You mean soul family, right? Not our physical family.
Both, because the fact that I am from Taygeta is because I'm also soul family with them. So I am a soul family with them, and I'm incarnating into the same race physically.
Okay, you mean their family, not our family here?
No. I mean, when you give the intention of contact, think about your soul family, your soul family, stellar family.
Yeah, because that could be from different places, right? My soul family could be some of them in Taygeta, some of them Andromeda, like
of course.
that.
Yeah. So think about your soul family, your stellar family, and then also, think about why you want that. Your intention has to be pure. It cannot be just something for entertainment or because you want to make money from that or something. It's just, I think it's the intention behind that is important to those people or beings as well. And also it depends on your prenatal agreements. Like, for example, in my case, I truly believe that it was a plan. Me coming in through the immersion, doing this here from inside, we kind of like, we planned this. So if nothing happens, don't worry. It actually could be for a reason. Actually, also they told us, and many times they don't contact people when they see they are doing very well on their own. So you could be doing very well on your own. You don't need any assistance. You don't need any guidance. You don't need any confirmation. You are doing well. So that's one thing. And then another question you had, can you choose where to go after you die or before? Yes, of course, before. You can actually make that decision, a conscious decision. But it has to be, well, okay, first, if you are in immersion pod, it may be a bit harder to go somewhere else, because if you die, your signal kind of goes back to your pod, and you wake up in your pod. I wouldn't say that limits you 100%. I think you could still go somewhere else if you truly wanted to, but I think it's harder because the connection with your pod is very strong. So that's one scenario. If you are not in any immersion pod, then I think you are more free to choose where you want to be. However, I do believe that your soul has preferences. So if it was in a certain area, certain planet or certain race before, naturally it might be drawn back to that place again. And right now you may not remember, but when you die, you will remember. So you will like naturally be drawn back to that location.
Yeah. So
but you can still override that, I think, with your mental decision right now.
Yeah, exactly. Because death is just the ultimate transition. But before that, we have many other transitions. Every thought really is a transition, right?
Yes.
So in that sense, like, we choose something, intention, like you said, and also kind of the perseverance to stick to that intention. Like,
yes,
for like, I'm like, not just keep looking for the next shiny thing, which I do sometimes. Because there's always, because I think we're also living in this information overload age, right? Like, there's so much information that even if we find something that resonates, I mean, maybe I should just talk about myself. Like, even if I find something which really resonates with me, like, for example, your channel, I'm all still looking, okay, what else is out there? What else is out there?
It's okay.
That's okay. But sometimes it can get into like an ego trip, almost, like, that I'm going to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, not only overload, because our brain can handle only so much, right? And that's why I think the whole mental disorder thing is getting overblown. It's not just because of the whole COVID lockdown thing, but also because of the information overload, right?
Well, yes, it's true, because there's so much coming in, and our mental capacities are not able to process all this. But you just have to take it, with your own rhythm and your own pace. If you do feel like you are overloaded, then definitely disconnect and stick with what makes you feel good, makes you feel aligned and well. I also get overloaded, and actually, to be honest, I sometimes get overloaded even with our information. Like, for example, if they are constantly connecting and giving information, and we are having these conversations that are always full of information, and there are always subjects that are talked about that are profound or metaphysically profound or any other way, I do feel overloaded sometimes. Like, okay, wait, I need to process this, or I need to take a step back. I need to disconnect. So give yourself that time, for sure. It's a good thing that you are recognizing it, though.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. That's why I decided to take a break from the whole corporate world. I used to work in the corporate world. It's very stressful. Now I have my own business, so this kind of helps to have less stress because we already have stress. Why add more stress? Let's see if there's any other questions.
I see a lot of comments. Do you have any questions? Well, I see some questions about Minerva again, but I don't want to go into that much because we actually we're told we can only confirm this for now, but not much else can be added at this point. There's a question from Lyran versus the Matrix. Was Aneka honored at all on Taygeta? Aneka died recently. I don't know if you know. And on the 5th November, she passed away. She was our main contact for 5 years. So we lost a good friend here. And she was very passionate about this work and passing her knowledge. And was she honored on Earth? I do know that they didn't do anything. I mean, there was no ceremony on Toleka on board, but they do have some sort of a ceremony in Temer where she was buried, probably somewhere around the beach because she was from the beach. But I don't know anything else beyond that. Well, that's like a story for the people who follow me and who know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Okay, people, any other question that you might have? If not, I think you have other questions, no?
Yeah, so you mentioned earlier about the technologies, like, like some people talk about med beds and all these things. Like, do you think, or even the replicators, like, do you think it's coming to a planet soon, or we don't know yet?
Interestingly, we just had a conversation with Yaski Swaruu a few days ago with Dale Harder, also present in the chat. Dale Harder is also someone who had and has the privilege of talking to them. He talked to them more in the past. And he's also a Taygetan starseed. He is an actually ex-NASA engineer. And he is working on his design of medbeds. And we organized this meeting with Yaski Swaruu because he had some questions about that. We wanted maybe to have a conversation about the medbed technology. And also we will take this into the medpod technology that they have on their ship, because their technology of the medpods is still much more complicated, complex and advanced than what we have on Earth. Whether I think it's coming, well, I think what they have on their ship for sure is not coming yet. That's not something that the cabal is willing to give an offer to the people yet. I mean, the pharmaceutical companies in the medical business, which is all based on false structures, like everything on Earth, is still too much in power here to give away, their reign to the medpod technologies. So I don't think that's going to be available yet. Maybe some medbeds designs that heal this and that, like what Dale is working on. That maybe yes, but not the entire medpod technology that they have in their planets.
Dale, what's his last name?
Dale Harder. Dale Harder.
Harder?
Yeah, like harder. What I'm working harder than you. What? Excuse me?
What's he working on?
Well, he's working on many different things, but right now he's working on this medbed design. So we have talked to Yaski Swaruu with him about that.
Oh,
someone has a question. This is from Bent. Hello, Bent, by the way. Hola, Robert. Si estás viendo. This is my friend Robert, actually from the Spanish channel. He's in the chat. Revelación Cósmica. That's actually Robert. Oh. That's my work partner in the Spanish world.
Oh,
and Bent.
Okay, hi, Robert. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't speak English though. He's just here to sneak around. And Bent is asking, many of us here in the chat are well versed with your work. Could you tell us which new videos you have lined up? Sorry for being noisy. No, it's not noisy at all. Well, I have to make video about, this is a message, the message from Yaski Swaruu to the white hats, as we are all fed up with the white hats and their supposed efforts to liberate the humanity. So Yaski here is addressing the white hats. That's going to be the next video. And I also have a video about the reverse world. I know people who follow me, they know I talked about the reverse world a little bit before. Basically, they told us that there is this reverse world where everything is reversed, the whole dynamic energy, everything is like the opposite. It's an opposite universe.
Even time? Is it the time
No,
also?
it's not like
backwards?
it's not like they are going backwards. Yeah, that was mentioned in the video too. It's not like you are going back. No, but a lot of physics dynamics is different. And actually,
like gravity going upwards, maybe?
Not maybe that extreme, but for example, like they told us that one of them, Swaruu, one of the Swaruus, actually visited that world. She actually punched in a frequency address, because that's how you travel. That's how you time travel too. You pinch in a frequency address into the holographic computers, and the starship takes you there. So she punched in the numbers, and it took her to that reverse world. And actually, on the way back, because she was afraid of it, it scared her. So she was trying to go back, and actually her ship exploded, and she died in the process. But like, for example, you know, like you have a negatives when you develop pictures, and you have the negative. Everything is reverse. So that's how people looked. They were like reverse looking. I know it's a wild story.
Like a mirror.
Yeah. Well, it's like a negative,
mirror, right?
like a black instead of white, and a white instead of black. And
colors, not just
colors.
the image, but also colors. Okay.
Yes. So we explain that in that video. So it's going to be about the reverse world, and also about the reverse time, which means, for example, and this is a metaphysical concept, which we do mention in our videos a lot, how an event that happens in the future is actually influencing the event in the so-called past. Complicated metaphysical concept, because there is no time really.
Felt that sometimes, actually, that's why they say you can change the past or the future, because they're all, I mean, we are living the past and future in the current moment, right? So obviously, if we change one out of those three, we change all three.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting concept as well. So that's going to be one of the videos as well. And also I have 1 second. Oh, well, I have to continue with the solar system, because a while back I started a series of a solar system where I'm explaining each single planet and what goes on there. So it's going to be about Uranus. Also about a short video about hybrids. And I am preparing this big series, even though we covered a lot of videos on navigation and ships. But there's going to be a whole series again about starships, all different types of subjects that are accumulated throughout the years, about the interior of the starships, how they look, about the reactors and turbines and engines, a very technical video about other races' ships, about life in their interstellar ship in general, what it's like to them, different designs and materials they are made of, about how they use their starships to pass as planes. Many things what we think is a plane is actually a UFO, a starship, a ship. So that's going to come up too, and it's going to be like 8 to 10 videos in that series. And anything new that comes up, because there's always new stuff coming up.
Right. So one of the last things I want to talk to you about is like what they call transhumanism. I mean, both you personally, what you think about it, and also if the Taygetans have anything to say about where we are heading, because looks like, especially last 10 years or so, and especially after the COVID hit, right? Like most people are hooked either on the phone or on the computer. So, and also Elon Musk is talking about the Neuralink thing, like the chip in the head. So
Yes.
where do you think we're going, or are we splitting? From what I know from other sources, like there's going to be a split where people who are into the AI things, like transhumanism, they going to separate reality, and others going to separate one.
Yeah, it's a complicated subject which I don't have a full grasp on, but I do know that they have talked a lot about that this is the direction that many of us are going, and that's where the cabal and the controllers and the regressives want us to take. So that's definitely in one of our scenarios for the future for some of us, and a lot of the chipping and the papayas, what I call them, that's a code word. That's what it has to do with that as well, to connect us to that transhumanism agenda, of course. But it is also interesting to note that, yes, a lot of people are refusing this and are aware of this. So there has to be some sort of a splitting happening. I don't know how it's going to be and what's going to happen, but I do see how it's going into two different directions. Yeah, like there are many of us who are totally aware of this and not accepting this and are not going to take any part of this. And then there are those who are totally ignorant and they are allowing things to be done to them, so they will be going in another direction. So there's definitely war here in place over our perception, over our physical vehicles, and where it will end, I am not sure. I don't know. They don't know themselves. All I know is that it's very important to make people aware and try to liberate as many minds as possible in the process. I don't know where it will go. That's my honest answer.
Yeah, from what I know from other sources is that that decision has already been made, as in people who are aligned to AI, they've already made that decision. So even if we try to tell them, they're not going to listen, because that, planetary point of view, from what I know, is that that split has already happened in our minds, but in physical reality, we are waiting for that to happen because we are so used to living in a certain way, right? So that shift physically will take some time, but mentally, we've already made, like I was saying earlier, right? Like the 5D, I already believe that I'm living in 5D. Like 2 years back, I can't even imagine the way I think and live my life right now. Like 2 years back, I would, if somebody told me, I was like, no. So it's like, I mean, COVID especially also, I think, has a big role in that, because it gave us a chance to reflect and like think about what's worth doing and what's not, those kind of things. So that way, I think COVID thing was a blessing in disguise. But again, it depends on how we perceive it, right? Some people still think it's a negative thing. I mean, obviously for people who passed away and their families, obviously it's not a positive thing. But overall, I believe that it gave us a lot of these reflections about life. At least it did for me. So anyway,
well, you were saying about it has been decided, and so like we are telling the people, but they have already decided. Well, yeah, everything is decided, so to speak. Yes, from higher levels, especially when you're looking from the advanced perspectives.
Right.
We talked about this in one of the videos about whether there is a free will. And yeah, from one perspective, there is a free will. And then from another perspective, there is none, because it's all already done and decided and played out from the higher, deeper level of our soul's core, somewhere in a metaphysical level where we don't even have conscious access. But on this, at the same time, we are still here within this dual game of things, which that's what it is, a game of things. And we play certain roles. So yeah, even the role of the liberators versus the controllers, that's just another game. And they talked about that as well. Even though they are very much into helping humans and giving information and this and that, they are aware, especially Yaski Swaruu, that it is a game. And this is the role that we are just playing out. This is just something that we decide to do because that's who we feel we are. But of course, from the more expanded views, it's probably already played out and, ordered. But we still have to do what we have to do, because our point of attention is here, and we need to do what we feel is right.
Yeah, that's what this book, have you heard of A Course in Miracles?
Yes, of course, but I haven't read it.
Yeah, even I haven't read the whole thing, but I've read many summaries of it. What it talks about is that, like you said, everything is already decided, but there's different versions of reality that have been almost like a DVD, like, a DVD has been, many DVDs have been made of reality.
Yeah.
And what we are doing is we're just picking which were, and it's the same movie, but each DVD has a different version of the movie. So we have to just pick and choose, but the movies have already been written. So in that sense, we're just picking, so it's in that sense, there's both a free will to pick the DVD, but the destiny is already written because the DVDs have already been made. That's why I think things like prayer and meditation and having some concept of God is important, because if we just think we have free will, then we feel like we can do whatever we want. But there's
they never talk about like God. They talk about the source, as you know. They are always referring to that soul, essence, and ether. But it's just semantics, I guess. They don't like the word God because it's associated with religions, and they are against institutionalized religions. So for them, it's source. But hey, for the Urmas, it's a cosmic cat. For example, Urmas, the feline race, their divine reality, creator things, whatever source is a cosmic cat. So that's how it is. Thank you very much, Illyrian versus the Matrix. She says she must go. Bye. Thank you very much for this, for the participation. I see if there's any other question here. There's a question from, Starchild. Can Yaski can ask other races out of the Federation if they want to contact? They are contacting people. I don't know to what degree. And I mean, not to the degree that we are doing, like that for sure, passing information, no. But no one really knows what they're up to exactly, other races. I'm looking at the chat too. I don't see any specific questions. The thing is that a lot of people who are watching this are probably the people who are following my work already. So they have a lot of answers in the videos already. It will have to be something totally new, or a question from a new person.
Yeah, sure. All right, so which we didn't touch upon, like anything, you already talked about some of the videos you're going to be making, but besides that, what else do you want to know? Let's say not from Taygetans, let's say somebody else contacted you from another system, like what would you like to ask?
What would you everything I want to ask, I always ask them. They're like the greater source of information. But actually, what I would like to ask someone who is not Taygetan, I would like to know their perspective on things. For example, in this whole Federation matter, like if I'm even curious, and I'm not sure if I am too curious here, because I might manifest that. I am actually even curious about like the regressive races perspective on things, like the reptilians that are controllers of the earth. I would like to actually like understand, get into their minds and like understand what their view is on things, just to understand, you understand. I'm curious, but I do want to put that out there just in case the universe manifested for me. I'm only interested in a respectful reptilian or regressive being who is going to respect me and is not going to harm me in any way.
Right.
So I'm curious, and I'm curious.
Because there's good and bad. Yeah, I think there's good and bad in all the races, right? So you have to give that disclaimer. I think good to give that disclaimer that I only want to contact the good ones, because yeah, that's a good, actually, it's just a good reminder, even during prayers, right? Sometimes we're like, oh, I want to be in contact with somebody, but that's somebody who, how do we know? Actually, that's one of the questions I had also. Maybe we can end with this is, how do you trust the information, even if it's not channeled, right? What if some hacker from China was chatting with you? And I'm just
Yeah, that was something my ex-boyfriend used to say, because when I first started this experience, I was still with him back in Barcelona, and he wasn't interested in anything spiritual or extraterrestrial. And I actually was hiding this from him for like 5 months before I told him, because I knew he was going to dismiss it. And of course he did. When I finally told him, he was like, "Oh, for some kind of a, it's someone sitting in their basement and making these chats with you."
Nice.
Well, first of all, 1 second here. Okay, first of all, when I met them, it was already validated by the person who introduced me to them. And that was an older lady who was very educated, who was very smart, very spiritual. She was actually a monk for many years. And she was the contactee before us. So she introduced us to the team. And we trusted her first, her judgment, her verification, her analysis. So through her, we right away believed that that's who they are. And then also, I must say, I never doubted them. It was like, for me, something I cannot even explain, something very instinctive. And that's how I know also that it was a part of the plan, because I just knew right away, this is it, this is what I'm going to do. Like, it was super automatic. And even beside that, if you just look at the information itself, the information just fits. It resonates on a very deep level, even though such a cliche thing to say, but it does.
Yeah.
It's super logical, and it makes a lot of things click. And the quantity and the quality of information is just so unbelievable, that it's just so obvious that it's given by someone who is living that reality, who is describing the ships because they are in them. So there's a lot of things here that is a verification for me, but for us, it's a friendship. How do you trust your husband or your wife? You just know that person. You just know, because of the friendship that has developed throughout the years. But like I said, even in the first week, I already knew that this was real. It was like some kind of a program in me.
Maybe also the past life thing, right? Maybe you were there in your past life, and that system, that's why it was easy for you to kind of resonate.
I was. Well, not only that, as I was saying before, I'm in the immersion program. So I'm right now immersed in that hibernation pod where my body is, and I decided to come down to Earth.
You mean you have two bodies, one in the pod and one here?
Yeah.
Okay. So does that body look the same, or it could look different?
Could look totally different. If it looked the same, it would probably mean that the memory is here, that you have a full memory. If you had a full memory here, that would reflect in your physical expression, and that you will look the same as your body in the pod. But I look totally different. I actually saw a photo of myself there. It didn't trigger any memories. Unfortunately,
they sent you a photo?
They can send photos that are with some filters here and there. I could see her, yes. But I did recognize some of my essence in her, in the way she is, but nothing beyond that. I'm okay. I'm totally okay with that. They told us that they are very careful actually revealing that to the people. They don't do that anymore, because sometimes it can be even disturbing to the person. It kind of like creates this kind of strange, disharmony, because this is our life here. I am not that person right now. I am here, and this is Gosia, and I am a human person. So
I
it may
think it's
create
the same concept. Yeah, it's probably, what I'm thinking is similar to the past life concept, right? Like it's not very important to know about past life. It's the same concept, right?
Yes, exactly. Well, it may be more important to others than to others. For me, it was always, for some reason, very important, but to know. But now that I know, I also know that it's not that essential to know, because your essence, who you are, your values, what defines you, will follow you anyway. And you don't have to know all these details, specifics. Your soul, you as that person up there, wants to have this experience right now on Earth as a human being, and cherish that, because it's super short. It's super short. It will finish, and you will go back there. There's no rush. So just enjoy your experience right now. It's a short ride. That's what I would say.
How many years do they live in Taygeta?
They can live how many years they want, because actually they choose to leave their body, die, transcend, if they're like done with their physical incarnation. But they can live, around 1,000 years, more or less. There are other races that live even longer, like 4,000. But it's individual. So there are people who live shorter. There are people who live more. It's personal.
Okay. One thing you said earlier was like, you said that the Taygetans are the best, or they know everything, or they have the most advanced knowledge, something along those lines. So how do you know that? Like, I was talking about, maybe I'm not paraphrasing properly, but you, when I asked you about other races or something, then you were saying that that they have all the, or maybe you were saying that they have all the information you need. So my question.
Yes. When you ask me, what do I ask other races? And I said, I if I have a question, I will just ask them. Well, because, okay, I don't mean to say by that they have all the knowledge and all the answers. Of course, other races will have other types of knowledge and information, because they are coming from other systems, other philosophies. So no, but I guess I assumed your question was more general, like if I have a question about this or that, then I would just ask them. But of course,
I was going to say that that's just one version. At least that's the way I look at things, is that if I ask somebody a question, even on this planet, they would give me an answer, but that's their version.
Yes,
that's
it's
their
true.
Perspective. So same thing with Taygeta, the answers you're getting from them, that's their perspective, right? That doesn't mean that's the ultimate truth.
Yeah, it's not, for sure. It's not the ultimate, and no one has the ultimate knowledge on anything. They're always expanding and learning, and interchanging information between their cultures. So of course, I guess I am just so full with what they offer and give, that it didn't even occur to me to even have a desire to talk to other races, because what they give me is already so much more than I ever dreamt of. I never imagined I'm going to have this type of a detailed contact almost daily. So I don't think I would even have energy anymore to, or mental space to, like, accept now another version of things. Even though, like I said, I would be curious. I would be curious even to talk to reptilians. I said that too, that I'm interested in that version of things, because it will be such a opposite, such a different version.
Right.
So it's very curious. For example, if I talk to Andromedans, they will have a different version, but still the things will be kind of on the similar side of things. But talking to a reptilian, it will be like totally all different angle. So that would be curious.
I know. Like different perspective. But again, then, like we were talking about information overload, that's what you're saying. You already have so much, so better to not get into too many things, because then it can get confusing too, right?
I think that's what it is. Yes, it's not that the Taygetans have the ultimate knowledge. No. It's just that for me, it's enough. It's already so much more than I can process many times.
Right.
And I'm always behind on the videos, as I always say. So I was just so much accumulated, and it always accumulates. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we can keep going for hours.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe we should stop, and maybe we can do this another time after a few months.
Sure.
So it was great chatting with you. I don't think there's any other questions right now, but it was great chatting with you, Gosia, and hope to hear from you soon again. And are you still looking at the questions, or are we done?
I'm looking at the chat, but I see most of the people are the people that I know. So that's why they probably don't have questions, because they have most of the answers, I would assume. Some people are amazingly in following all the material. I feel sometimes they even know and remember more than I do.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to thank you also. Thanks for putting all the videos. It's a lot of good information. So appreciate. I think we all appreciate what you're doing. And talk to you soon, and looking forward to more videos from you.
I have one more question from the person, and then I'm going to finish as well. Nickel Pond Farm, are there any mental or physical traits that could give an indication as to which species we may have come from? They told us that actually there is no indication. Like, for example, you could be a Taygetan starseed and be born in a Nigerian society, for example. So you don't have any indication in that level. I would say, though, that even though there is no guarantee of any indications, you might have a preference for a certain area on the planet. So if you, for example, are a Taygetan starseeds and you had, there were colonies somewhere in Eastern Europe or something, well, then maybe you would want to be again in that area. It could be an indication. Like in my case, I was born in Poland, and I'm Taygetan starseed. So here it correlates, but it doesn't have to. So I think it's not helping you much what I said. But thank you very much, Lokesh, also for invitation. It was great chatting with you, and I liked your style because you like very natural and like just sharing what comes to your mind, and interesting kind of questions that not everybody asked me before.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for the feedback. And talk to you soon, and have a great day.
Thank you. Have a great day as well. And everybody in the chat. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. And also like, subscribe, and share this video. I'm not good at
subscribe, and share the video.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care.
Take care.